All right, so we're going to talk about the equation editor now. So here we are. Hopefully you can see this. It's the home page of our course. So the equation editor, you're probably going to be using that within the discussion posts. So I'm going to click on the discussion tab here. It's right over next to content. So here we see all the weekly discussions. In week one of the discussions that I'm asking you to participate in is the practice with equation editor. So I'm asking you to, all you need to do is build this function here. And so that'll show me that you know how to insert math into your discussion posts. This is important because, just typing math without an equation editor, it can make it very difficult to read, and I or other students in the class might misunderstand what you're trying to write. So knowing how to accurately and clearly type math is vital for an online course especially. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this topic. That opens the topic. I'm then going to click on Start a New Thread. So these are the steps that you'll take to write a discussion post. Okay, here we are. This is where we're going to type in our equation. So I'm just going to call it Rachel's equation. And then this box here is where we're going to enter in our equation. So instead of just typing with our keyboard, this is hard to read. It's hard to tell what's going on. Right? We are going to use the equation editor, and we'll see how much better the equation is going to look. So you can find the equation editor with this button here. It's called graphical equation. Looks like it's a Greek letter sigma. So if we click the down arrow, you'll see that there's three options. There's the graphical equation, the MathML equation, and the LaTeX equation. So graphical equation is probably the easiest thing to just get started with. So we'll click on that. Okay, so here is where we're going to type our equation. We have all kinds of options to choose from. This first tab here, we've got square roots and fractions, superscripts. If we click on the fourth tab, we can see some Greek letters. So if we need to enter in pi or theta or phi, whatever you might have, and we do run into Greek letters quite a bit in Calc, that's how you would get those to render. So I'm going to make up an equation that's similar to what I asked you to create, but a little bit different. So f of x equals, okay, so far I'm just using my keyboard to type. Now I want to input a fractional term. So I'm going to go back to this first tab. I'm going to click this first button here. That's a fraction button. So you can see there's a box for the numerator and a box for the denominator. So in the numerator, I'm just going to type a 3. In the denominator, maybe I want a square root. So to input a square root in the denominator, I click the square root button. Now I can type whatever I'd like within the square root. So I'm going to put a sine function. So here we are given a little box automatically for the argument of the sine function. So I'm going to enter x squared minus pi over 3. So I type the x. In order to get the exponent, I click on this tab right here called the Scripts and Layout tab. And I'm going to click on this superscript. So the superscript puts us up into the exponent area. Now I can type all in the superscript or the exponent. I'm just going to type a 2 for this example. To get out of that field, you can either click away or click the right arrow on your keyboard. And that brings us back down. I'm going to type a subtraction sign. And I want x squared minus pi over 3. So I'm going to enter a small fraction for pi over 3. Pi can be found in the Greek letters tab. And then I'll click down to the denominator and I can just enter a 3. And say I want to add to this a polynomial term. So I'm going to add the polynomial x to the 5th minus 7. So Again, I type in X. I want a superscript. I'm going to click out of that by clicking the right arrow. -7. And to make it interesting, I'll multiply it by a logarithm. So if I go to this last tab here, the calculus tab, I see a couple different options for logs, common log, natural log. To make it interesting, I'll do logarithm to base n. Okay, so here we can enter whatever base we would like. I'll say it's base 7 of the number 23. Okay, so here we've created a nice fraction, well, a nice expression that's easily readable, at least more easily readable than if we were just typing in expressions into the box like I showed you at first. So to insert this, we can click Insert. And hopefully you see it's night and day. This is much easier to read than the top line. Okay, so that's how we use the graphical equation editor. Honestly, I use LaTeX quite a bit. So if anyone has questions on that, just let me know. LaTeX is really nice for writing PDFs, so writing math in PDFs. But that's another option. So feel free to play with either of these other two options. I just think the graphical equation, you can just click on the button, so you don't necessarily have to know how to code or anything like that. And when you're finished, you simply click Post. Okay. I hope you found that helpful. I'm always here to answer questions, so good luck getting started with everything this week.